That was a moment of traveling forward in time. So just for a moment, I'd like you to travel back in time to your own arrival here just a few years ago. Remember how it felt to set foot on campus for the first time as a new student. A mixture of excitement as well as anticipation and nervousness. Maybe confidence and hope and fear all bundled together at the same time. Well, you figured it out, exploring campus, navigating your classes and labs, finding friends and mentors, perhaps discovering the wider Guelph community. And maybe most important, discovering yourselves. It was a time of transition, going from what you were to what you would become, including, by the way, Guelph Griffins. Now it's time for the next transition. And maybe you're feeling a familiar mix of hope and optimism. Together, I would suggest with some trepidation and uncertainty. So in that moment, think back over the past few years of your studies here at Guelph. You leave us today having gained a body of knowledge in your field and having had a chance to study and work with some of the most renowned teachers and researchers across the globe. And as part of a learning-centered, research-intensive university, you've witnessed breakthroughs in scholarship and in research here at the University of Guelph. You've also been part of a diverse, welcoming community, open to differing opinions, and shared learning and discovery. And what you've learned here, I would suggest, goes well beyond the learning of strict subject matter. An important part of our mission as a university has been to provide you with the tools to successfully adapt and to navigate through the complexities and the dynamics of a modern society. In our fast-paced world, the gap has narrowed between knowledge generation and knowledge application. New ideas become new products at an unprecedented pace. Information and communication technologies and the related democratization of learning and knowledge have become game changers. Effectively, what's happened is the distance between today and tomorrow has narrowed. This presents challenges, and it also presents opportunities for all of us. A key challenge with change and transition is uncertainty, the very thing that some of you may be feeling right now. Well, it's a challenge, but it's also a wonderful opportunity. And the opportunity lies in finding what I like to call the upside of uncertainty. Taking uncertainty and change and adapting to it in a healthy way. So what does that mean? Well, here on campus, it means that our researchers and scholars anticipate problems and opportunities, and they develop solutions, including solutions to problems that don't even exist yet. For you graduates, it means getting the job done and getting it done well, all while being future thinkers, adapting and readapting. Here at Guelph, we've tried to help you learn to adapt and indeed to thrive in tomorrow's ever-changing world. And we've looked to provide not just a curriculum for you, but also life skills and tools for your lifelong survival kit. Today, you face a new transition. Some of you will continue on to grad school, others will enter the working world, still others will travel or otherwise take time to ponder your next steps. Whatever your next move, here at the University of Guelph, we've worked to provide the analytical and the qualitative skills you need to look beyond the world today and to succeed through innovation, through problem solving in new and interesting ways. You've learned, I hope, about adaptation and creativity. In effect, in some ways, you've learned to learn, and that's a good thing. And as you leave behind the formal classrooms and labs, your learning doesn't end today. In a sense, it really is just beginning. It really is about lifelong learning. The process of learning and adapting that learning in new and exciting ways over your careers, and I would suggest over your entire lifetimes. It's about turning your knowledge into action. You spent the past few years as part of the university community, and I hope you've also had a chance to learn how to fit into that wider community. Today, the wider view will be essential for you in tomorrow's world. Over the years, you will see that you'll need to bring together different perspectives, blend knowledge and ideas from different disciplines, and apply that knowledge in innovative and exciting ways. Knowledge in action. And it's about finding that upside of an uncertainty. So as you enter this next exciting stage of your lives, I encourage you all to draw upon your University of Guelph experiences. as learners, and as members of a very special community, and really to bring the very, very best you have to offer in every experience. Continue taking pride in your achievements, embrace the opportunities that arrive, and look to create your own opportunities, opportunities that will shape our future, opportunities to refine who we are and to see the future through a broader lens. Remember that universities are among the few places in society where a large part of our purpose is really to foster ideas and innovation and to dream and inspire hope. That's exciting, that's bold and imaginative, and I encourage you all to find ways to take what you've learned here to engage with and make a difference in your world, our world. And one more thing, and this one at least is for certain. Once a Griffin, always a Griffin. So thank you very much and congratulations. Well done. Now, this morning's convocation address will be delivered by Professor Alison Duncan from the Department of Human Health and Nutritional Sciences. Professor Duncan began her studies as an undergraduate student in dietetics here at the University of Guelph and continued to graduate school in nutritional sciences at the University of Toronto and then the University of Minnesota. As Associate Director of Research for the Human Nutraceutical Research Unit, she works on clinical trials to examine the human health effects of food and natural health products. And I'm now very, very pleased and delighted to invite Professor Duncan to the podium.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, Madame Provost, Dean Newman, fellow faculty, family and friends, and of course, graduates. Congratulations to all of you. I'm honored to be able to share some of my thoughts with you on this major milestone in your life. So when we're preparing for this address, the first idea that came to me is the remarkable opportunity that you've been given through your education. And there's responsibility that comes with that. So this morning, my talk is about 4 concepts that I hope will help you realize that opportunity and live up to that responsibility and make the world a better place for you and those around you. So the first item on my short list is intellectual discipline. You've spent your time at University of Guelph developing your intellect. You are a key beneficiary of your education, and it will beyond a doubt make your life more meaningful. With your transformed ability to think, you're now able to assimilate new information and advance it to benefit yourself and others. Really, the essence of advanced education is learning how to think and exercising control over your thoughts so you can choose what to pay attention to. And there's a lot to choose from. Motivational speaker Tony Robbins once said, most people fail in life because they major in the minor things. So to focus on the major things or even figure out what those major things are is to have intellectual discipline. The greatest test of your intellect is really defining what's important and then acting upon it. And this means fine-tuning your ability to map out your available resources into the best way of proceeding. But as we know, we don't live in a quiet, uninterrupted world that allows us most easily to have progressive thinking. Instead, we are surrounded by distraction. We have email, phone calls, Facebook, texting, the weather, and everyone, and by that I mean everyone in your life around you is going to have an opinion about what you're doing. So it's hard. You have to have focus and clarity to keep your thoughts to what's truly important and deliver on that. And no one's pushing you to do it. You can go through life and follow instructions, do what is expected, and you'll be safe. You'll probably even do really well. But to do really, really well, and to optimize your future, you can take a hold of your own destiny and guide your life with your intellectual discipline. This is probably best illustrated by Dr. Stephen Covey's work on the 7 habits. In his work, he proposes an organization of activities into varying degrees of importance and urgency. So to have intellectual discipline is to focus your thinking on ideas that are important but not urgent. So these ideas may need not to be addressed right now, they may not even seem urgent right now, but one day they will and you'll be ready. You'll have created a pathway, set up a framework for a destiny that facilitates your success and the success of those around you. And life can be the best it can be. So thinking really is your freedom. It can take you and those around you far. It's up to you to use your intellect to determine what's important when there's so much to choose from. And you're resourceful, you can support your thoughts, and you can be responsible with your intellectual discipline. So I have another item. My second item is community. Every discipline has one, and it's up to you to be aware of the fabric and essence of your community. Whatever you're doing, it's of great value to be aware of the stakeholders of your activities, the organization and history of your discipline, what's come before you, and what's going on right now. Understanding and knowing the essence of that community really enables you to be aware and be conscious enough to figure out where you are and recognize opportunities that will make a difference for you and those around you. I thought of this idea when I heard a story by David Foster Wallace about two fish that were really not doing this, so I'm adapting it for you here. So there are two young, newly graduated fish swimming along, and they come across an older, more experienced fish who smiles and says, "Good morning, fish, how's the water today?" The two young fish smile back but don't answer. They swim on, and then one of them looks over to the other and says, "What does he mean by water?" These new fish graduates are so immersed in their everyday life, they don't understand the essence of their community. This reminds you to know what your water is, to be aware of your community because it's the very fabric of what can determine your future opportunities and enable you to make contributions. If you don't recognize or become conscious of your water, you could be missing the mechanism for opportunity that's right in front of you. And it's these opportunities that will allow you to give back to your community and make life better for those around you and for yourself. So the next step after that is to broaden your community. Connect yourself and network. Discovery and innovation can come when you're able to advance your community and make those connections. With intellectual discipline, you can optimize your service to your community by identifying vast opportunities that are out there. And this often involves perspective. Consider your perspective and never underestimate the power of that perspective. We have many examples around us about how perspective has expanded a community to drive innovation and discovery. And a familiar one to all of us is the telephone. So Alexander Graham Bell was working to create a medical device to treat deafness. Along the way, he somehow recognized that the real opportunity was in communication. He was conscious of expanding the bounds of his current activity. He was able to discover by allowing himself to consider other perspectives and broad stakeholders of his work. So the stakeholders were not just hearing impaired, but those who have the need for oral communication. So this item is about community, being conscious of it and how to expand it to create opportunity. So now I have a third item. The third item on my short list is very familiar to all of us, and it's adversity. Every one of us in this room has faced it, and each of us certainly has it coming to us in our future. But what is different for you now is your transformed ability to think. You now have an elevated ability to control your thoughts, and that means choose how you handle adversity. This choice on how to handle adversity will make a tremendous difference in your life. I found a story that illustrates this. It's a little longer than the fish story, but it's about potato, eggs, and coffee beans. So there once was a daughter who complained to her dad that her life was miserable and she didn't know how she was going to make it. She was tired of fighting and struggling. It seemed just as one problem was solved, another soon followed. Her dad was a chef and took her to the kitchen where he filled 3 pots with water and placed each on a high fire. Once the water was boiling, he put potatoes in one pot, eggs in another, and ground coffee beans in the third. And after 20 minutes, he took the potatoes out, placed them in a bowl. He took the eggs out, placed them in a bowl. And then he ladled the coffee out and placed it in a cup and asked his daughter what she saw. "Potato, eggs, and coffee," she hastily replied. "Look closer," he said, and touched the potatoes. So she did and noted they were soft. He then asked her to take an egg and break it. After pulling off the shell, she observed the hard-boiled egg. Finally, he asked her to sip the coffee, and its rich aroma made her smile. Her father then explained that the potatoes, the eggs, and the coffee beans had each faced the same adversity, that boiling water, but each one reacted differently. So the potato went in strong, hard, and unrelenting, but in boiling water, it became soft and weak. The egg was fragile with a thin outer layer protecting its liquid interior until it was put in the boiling water and the inside became hard. But the coffee beans were unique. After they were exposed to the adversity of the boiling water, they changed the water and created something new and beautiful. So the moral of the story is that things happen around us, things happen to us, but what really matters is what happens within you. And once you're done a university degree, you're also very full of coffee. So the reality is that life does not come with a manual. Most of the time you'll be faced with challenges for which there's no template, there's no instructions, so you will create the manual. You'll live the instructions, and this all goes back to your thoughts and training on how to think, how to optimize your circumstances with that intellectual discipline. So my last item is probably the most determinant of your future quality of life, and it's emotional intelligence. And by this I mean how you handle your interactions with those around you. There's obvious here, which is what we should all do. We should be kind and respectful and humble and grateful and treat others as we would like to be treated. We know these ideas, and it's up to us to regularly practice them. But what's less obvious is how we do these things. They are very simple in concept, but they can be difficult in action when the going gets tough, especially. What are the skills, and how do you go about practicing these simple ideas? The key is to have emotional intelligence, to put time and effort into understanding and managing your own emotions and your reactions to the emotions of others. Relationships can be really hard, but at the same time, exceptionally rewarding. The pure and true joy in your life will come from the relationships that you have. The true test then to practicing this emotional intelligence is mastering communication, to recognize that we all communicate differently, whether we're outgoing, reserved, or blunt. And it's important to recognize these styles, so to not take approaches personally and stay tuned at the core message at hand. So in your relationships, aim to listen, to understand, to empathize, and keep focused on the real issues, and not the dramatic window dressing or even maybe the strong language that could be diluting and confusing the issue that needs your attention. Force yourself to respect biases and perspectives and look for that real issue. This is not easy at all and demands emotional intelligence. To help with us is to realize that life is long. You have enough time, energy, and patience to understand those around you. Nothing is more important. You have the time and the ability to think and figure it out. And things are going to get hard, they'll get messy, they'll probably get strange, but you'll navigate it and recognize that relationships are paramount and worth your considerable life, and you will have a better quality of life. And above all of this is the simple thing to remember to be kind. Like Mother Teresa once said, kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless. So to summarize my short list, intellectual, community, adversity, emotional intelligence. I hope these ideas can propel you into the exciting future that you have and to help you realize your opportunities and live up to that responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Duncan, for those insightful remarks, and I'm sure hopefully students will reflect on them in the weeks and months to come. So good morning, graduates, good morning, parents, family, friends. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Will the graduating class please rise? Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University of Guelph that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby accept you for admission to your various and several degrees with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
Will the members of the graduating class please be seated?
Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science honors program. Nijin Abdul-Majid. Margaret Kirkwood Bain. Gurinder Singh Bains. Jody Marie Ball. Kaylee Hazel Barlow Cash with distinction. Whitney Elizabeth Bell. Hannah Bame. Christopher Ryan Borowski. Taylor Margaret Braden, with distinction. Robert William Brandt. Alexandria Breen, with distinction. Jake Carter, with distinction. Natasha Monique Castellano, with distinction. Ashley Pai Chang, with distinction. Matthew Cliff. Allison Elizabeth Kaur. Caitlin Sarah Cross. Cassia Paula Dalbello. Catherine DeSalis. Jillian Lee Dickey, with distinction. Nicholas Robert DeLeo. Lucy Alexandra Eskegian Torres, with distinction. Michael Alexander Fabili. Daniela Sarah Green. Russell Evan Gunnewick. Nadia Hashem. Stephen John Harvey. Tessa Regina Horvath, with distinction. Serena Marie Hosak. Deirdre Marie Hughes. Kayla Michelle Humphreys, with distinction. Haydar Hussein. Emily Geneva Johnson. Fahim Kakar. Rebecca Joy Kiefer. Gregory Allen Kelly. Megan Klimas with distinction. Chenoa Koch with distinction. Roxana Jasmine Kugoli. Carly Sarah Kopstick. Guylaine La Rochelle. Dennis John Larson with distinction. Tiffany Caitlin Lasala. Kennedy Logan Lothman. Sebastian Christopher Lefebvre. Milena Lumovich with distinction. Karina Lauren McIntyre. Cameron James McKinnon. Amanda Connor McNalidge. Brittany Jean-Derek Mannock. Kendra Jane McCalla. Kelsey Elizabeth McCollum. Leanne McDonald. Taylor Kylie McDowell. Lindsay Murdoch with distinction. Vabav Nair. Jefferson J. Ing. Michael Alexander Osborne. Monica Palco. Michael Peter Palmer. Elisa Pereira. Travis Prasad. Jonathan Craig Pagozzo. Elise Maria Post with distinction. Brandon Nicholas Reese. Kylie Kendra Marie Ronenberg. Natalie Ronson. Sheldon Roy. Winona Agnes Rosario. Heather Beverly Ann Ryan. Brian Anthony Schmidt with distinction. Ryan Walker Seafried. Jordan Jacob Shannock. Haley Dawn Shelton. Catherine Alyssa Short. Kelsey Robin Shropshire. Rosangela Spadafora. Amanda Steenpower. Zoe Louise Stein. Alicia Kyan Stennett. Mariana Helena Suchi. Leora Surilove. Nicole Lauren Tabujara. Laura Claire Piguer. Katie Alisa Tang with distinction. Kyle Thiessen with distinction. Carissa Michelle Thornton. Peter Nguyen Tran with distinction. Catherine Christina Tromulin Jones with distinction. Taylor Trottier Scully with distinction. Hillary Alicia Birch. Dylan John Carl Walker. Sven Haiti Wickman. Samantha Rose Weirdsma. Cassandra Elizabeth White. Monica Louise Williamson with distinction. Michael John Willis. Michela Beth Winches. Please join me in congratulating this class. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science General Program. Caitlin Emily Bars. Jillian Dawn Ewing. Angeli May Martia. Joshua David Mitchell. Tyler Richardson. Sorry. Amy Nicole Trembath. Alexandra Weatherall. Please join me in congratulating these scholars. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences Honors Program. Jessica Chan, with distinction. Jack Graham Robertson, with distinction. Patrick John Sobchuk, with distinction. Allison Heather Traub, with distinction. Brooke Denise Wallace, with distinction. Please join me in congratulating this final group of scholars.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, I would ask you to confer the various and several degrees on the graduates listed in the program, but unable to be present at this ceremony.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I confer the various and several degrees in absentia on the graduands not present. Charlotte. Well, graduates, you did it. Well done. Congratulations. Well, welcome all of you now to the Griffin alumni family, a growing family. This week brings almost 1,000 new graduates crossing our convocation stage to join Griffin alumni. Those alumni number more than 100,000 graduates around the world. We're all very proud of your accomplishments here at the University of Guelph and really do look forward to seeing how the foundations that you've developed here as a student will continue to support you in your own journey in the future. We want to celebrate your achievements and your successes and really do hope that you will stay in touch and remember that you're always welcome here. So you've graduated, but make sure that we stay connected and stay in touch. Graduates, you've made memories here, including today's ceremony, and remember this as well. You're a student for a short time, but you're a Griffin forever. Now, this concludes the formal part of our convocation ceremony. Just a couple of notes. Following the convocation ceremony, Dr. Jonathan Newman, Dean of the College of Biological Science, will host a reception for all graduates and their guests in Creelman Hall. And this is an opportunity to congratulate the graduates, and we very much hope that you can attend. A couple of items of business. One is that once you've taken all of your photographs, if you could you please return your gowns and hoods either downstairs when you collect your belongings or at the reception in Creelman Hall. Sometimes there's a tendency to just keep going. You're all kind of energized. But if you could drop off the gowns, that would be great. One more note, and this is a little bit of a research scholarship note. As part of a class project that's currently going on campus, several students are actually conducting a short survey on your convocation experience today. So if you could take a moment to share your thoughts with us, that would be great. The students will be available at the reception to record your feedback, or if you'd prefer to participate when you return home, you apparently will find a bookmark with a link to the survey in your convocation program. So I hope you'll take the time to participate in that survey. We are hosting 6 convocation ceremonies this week, and waiting outside is the next group of families that are eager to see their graduates across the stage. And so to help us prepare the hall for the next group, if you could please exit through the doors on my right and left of the stage. And on that note, I will say thank you for your cooperation. And in keeping with tradition in my role today, I actually get the final words. And they are, convocation is dismissed. Well done.